Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pirates Parley, episode 18. Today, I'm joined by none other than, let me get this right, the one and only computational fluid dynamics expert, Bill Papas from Unruggable. Let's go.
Thanks for having me, Steve.
Thanks for being on. It's been a while coming. Where are you calling from?
So I'm in San Francisco at the moment. We're at the Colosseum offices. We just finished the US order, sending them out, and I'm flying back to the UK now. So back home, we've got the remaining UK, EU, and world orders. So massive thank you to everyone who came through. We finally got them shipped out. I'm happy with the finish on them. And yeah, San Francisco for now, flying back today, and then just shipping out the rest. So looking forward to that.
So thanks for joining. It must be pretty early for you. For everyone watching right now, you can drop your questions in the chat here. So I'm gonna chat is open so everyone can see. And yeah, for those that don't know you, which is highly unlikely because you're one of the true Solana OGs, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool. So yeah, my name's Bill. I'm an engineer by trade, mechanical. That was my undergrad, and then I did that's how pretentious always, a PhD in computational fluid dynamics. So it was a lot of like aeros and fluids, and we did some combustions and explosions. And then I found crypto in just after COVID, in the good old days, after the world changed. And I went from PhD white papers to crypto white papers, and I thought, well, this is interesting. So I ended up I read the Bitcoin ones, the Ethereum ones, Solana ones, and I started trying the change, and I found Solana. It was the only one that I liked, and it worked. And that was 4.5, 5 years ago now. And this was back before when we had Solid, right? So this was, you had no wallets on there. It was the good old days. FTX was the only exchange with it. And that got me Solana Pill. And then we had the great NFT run, the Monkey DAO stuff. I'm into the Monkey. Then we had the Gen Apes. I was running the Candy Machine bots. So I did that for a couple of years, and then I met Adam, and we got working together. And then Unruggable kind of started 2.5 years ago now.
That long?
And it's 2.5. We went through 2 iterations. So we did 4 Colosseum hackathons. Iteration 1 was the first one. Iteration 2 was the second one, and then finally on the third one, I can go a bit more into it later. We got our direction, and we thought we had something. We got that up place, and then we went in for the Grand Champions, the last one. Again, God bless Colosseum for that. And since then, it feels like the last 6 months have been more than the last 2 years of development altogether. But it's been good. I've enjoyed Solana for the last 4.5, 5 years, and hopefully for another 4.5 to 5 years. Fingers crossed for this market.
Well, yeah. Every time people tell Solana is truly dead this time, we rise back from the grave. I think we've been pronounced dead more times than The Undertaker in WWE, so I don't pay too much attention to that. But it sounds almost like you kind of regret starting Unruggable. You must be tired after all this.
I don't think I could do anything else. I think in hindsight, when we chose hardware, again, go back 2.5 years ago, AI was in a completely different state, right? What development was completely different. And we thought hardware was going to be a really good challenge. It's something that is interdisciplinary. So, we have the electronic side of it, we have the hardware side of it, of just making the actual device. And then it's also the software side with the firmware and the software to interact with it. And it's something I have skills across all of them. We thought it would give us a good competitive advantage. Not just that, but also we thought there was a gap in the market, right? We're the number 1 chain in terms of users and activity, and yet we're an afterthought for all the other hardware wallets. So it was that combination of, right, this is something that I'm one of the few people I think that can do the whole thing full stack without needing a whole team, plus the market opportunity, and then personal trauma from FTX, which, again, if we had good custody options back in the day, I don't think FTX, the fallout would have been so wide for Solana, right? Back in 2 years ago, this was pre-SPL tokens and Ledger. This was the dark days, and that pushed people to not self-custody, and that's kind of what drove it. So that's kind of the combination that led towards it, I think. And then with the AI development we've seen, the hardware has been a blessing in disguise. It's a moat that I think, again, if you're a good developer or you've got some experience, you can definitely vibe code yourself a hardware product. It's not out of the realms anymore, right? You've got some experience, you can do it. But going from a prototype of, oh, this works, which is where we were probably last year, to something that you can actually send to people, and for hopefully, fingers crossed for everyone listening, and Steve, when they open up, they go, oh, that's nice, and they like it and they can use it. Yeah, that's probably harder than getting to the prototype. So that's how we ended up with it. And yeah.
But it must be so intimidating to take on behemoths like Ledger and Trezor, and what else do I've got? Keystone. I mean, there are pretty solid options, but you say are those all flawed in some way, or does Solana need specialized hardware?
So, look, Ledger is exceptional in its hardware, right? That is indisputable. They've got a really good like offensive research team with Don John. They've done industry-leading research. The hardware is immaculate. Where we think the gap is, and again, we're working on like getting our hardware to parity. So what I say with parity is we want to be at the same level as everyone else, same certification. Again, you look at them, they all work in roughly the same way. It's a secure element, it's a microcontroller, and it's you plug it in and you play. And then we've seen some differences on maybe connectivity. So Bluetooth, NFC, you've got the Solflare card, which is really easy to use with the NFC. Again, it's not clear signing, but is a valid option for someone that knows what they're doing. So the hardware part, I was like, okay, we can definitely compete on that. The thing where I think we differentiate is the UI UX. So Solana, this is what I said, again, with a PhD, this is where I think niching down is where your edge is. So all the other companies, Keystone as well, is they're all doing all the chains, right? They've been in business for many years. And if you've got Bitcoin and Ethereum and like, look how many Ethereum EVM chains there are, right? The layer ones, you go on the website and like, we support 1,000+ cryptocurrencies. But that was a market that was correct, what, 2 years ago? Now, what chains are still having activity? You've got maybe Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, Hype, TRX as well, because they do a lot of stables, maybe the top 10, and that's, maybe you've got some breakout ones coming, but that's it. And all of the breakout ones are built on an existing layer one. So that's where I think the edge is. It's that we can just focus on one thing. And it's just simple maths, right? When you have to do 100 different things, it's like at a restaurant. You go in and the menu's got everything and you're like, fuck, this is not going to be good food. But if you go to a burger spot and they only do burgers, you're probably going to get a good burger. That's what we try to do. We try and just do burgers or just one thing and do it the way I would want it to.
Yeah, and I think, with the effort that Sunrise is doing, for those who don't know, Sunrise is a DeFi protocol that allows for trading newly launched tokens, L1s, stuff like that on Solana immediately. I think I use Solana for everything. So my Bitcoin is on Solana, my Solana is on Solana. I don't use exchanges. I don't even have an account on an exchange. Everything I do is OTC, or I can offer them for Revolut, which might be considered a exchange, but self-custody is the way to go. And yeah, I've tried out many wallets. Can I show for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got, so just some context. Steve got one of our early ones. So Steve, if you open, I'll open mine up and then I'll go a little bit into one of the fun bits of hardware and dealing with metal and not an app. So yeah, please go ahead.
So I did a series on my X account. You can still see it in the highlights. I've got this Solana ledger, and then I've got the other ledger as well. Mm-hmm. And then I've got this ledger in the Solana colors.
Oh, the new one. Nice.
I got the Keystone custom.
Yep.
This one is air gapped. I've got Tangem, which I was not a huge fan of because I can't use it on my laptop.
Yep.
NFC only. I've got a Trezor here, which I also tried.
Oh wow! Okay. The whole collection.
Yeah. I'm blessed. I've got sent many wallets to try out, and then I've got these two boxes from you.
Yes.
One is slightly larger, one is slightly smaller. Which one do I open?
The smaller one. So I've just got, this is one of the, so we sent Steve an early one just before the podcast. So this is what we've shipped, and we have a tamper-proof packaging. So Steve got an early version. So this is what you'll get in the mail, and then if I rip that open, you've got what Steve has there, lovely. And if you see, yep, you flip the card and the card should have the instructions, and it's got a little arrow as well. So the packaging, oh man, I've got stories about the packaging, and then that should slide open, and then you should hopefully have your Unruggable device. Fingers crossed. And then it's a little polishing cloth, and then your USB-C cable. So, and yes, now Steve's going to put me through the extremely stressful live test of trying to get the app to work, which, as any developer knows, a live test is always nerve-wracking, but, you know, we shipped them out today to the US, so everything should be good.
It really is. It has some weight to it. It feels really sturdy. Did you guys machine this yourself, and what material is it?
So we made these out of billeted aluminum. We machined them. We have a shop out in Kansas. So the first ones ever, I machined them myself by hand on a jeweler's lathe. So I made the aluminum myself just to get the designs to something that you can make. And then we started outsourcing. So what you'll notice, your one, Steve, has, if you look at it really close, you can still see the machine marks on it. And we got feedback from people, and they said that the marks on the thing it was a really nice device, but it just threw it off. So with these ones that we sent out, we tumbled them. And getting a nice finish on aluminum, the way, you know, Apple do the iPhones with the aluminum backing, that's really hard. So, you know, Adam was really strict with the quality control, no scratchies, no little imperfections. He works me, he makes sure we do it right. So we tumbled them, and I think we're quite happy with the result. The tumbling seems to have like smoothed them out quite well. And yeah.
You can still see it, but I like it that way. It's hand built.
Yeah, they are artisanal. So like we did hand assemble everything. You know, we put the boards in, the USB, I test them, I flash them myself. And I hope I've done the quality control correctly and everyone gets one that works. Again, if not, we've got the support, the feedback emails there. And then we've also got a really nice little letter in here. So I didn't write this, Adam wrote this for everyone, but we've got the instructions in, and then we put in a QR code with the tutorial in, Steve, as well, just as we fleshed out the packaging before I sent you the early ones. And then I don't know if you want to show them the other box, the big one, or if you want to do try and demo straight away.
So I want to talk about this one first.
Yeah.
Daniel from Authensis, he says it looks like a Zippo. It does feel like one. It has the same weight to it, but also approximately the same size. And another thing I notice is, apart from the torque screws, it has the Solana logo on it.
Yes.
And on the other side, it has the frog logo. How did you come up with the frog logo? What's the lore there?
Oh, so back in the day, so this is when we first started Unruggable, we started looking at all the hardware wallets. And what we noticed is that it's really hard to market a hardware wallet or create a brand around it. And all the existing hardware wallets were very institutionalized, right? You would go on the Twitter, it would be zero engagement. The post wouldn't really resonate. And, you know, back in the day as a hackathon project, right, our first thing was just a little like CLI wrapper in the terminal. So we knew that we had to go a different direction, and we had really good artists like a graphic designer, and he came up with the branding of the frogs. They were quite unique. They really helped with the marketing, doing graphics, and they kind of built a logo, and it was recognizable, and it's worked, and it adds a bit of personality that we haven't seen other wallets be able to do. So we've kept it in, and I think we're going to do a rebrand, because I think the orange was a bold choice, to say the least, from back in the day. So we're working on we were going to work a little bit towards the aluminum style to match the wallets and like the metal and the engineering style that we're doing. But the core of it behind was to try and make a fun brand that people could identify or feel. All the other brands feel a bit cold, right? They're a bit impersonal. We try and make it like the curviness, etc. It just feels a bit more friendly or a bit more consumer friendly, and it seems to do well for marketing. So yeah, that's the story behind it, and people seem to like it. So yeah,
I immediately got a Naruto reference, because Naruto, the anime series, his wallet is a frog.
Yep.
Is that the link there, or?
No, I don't think so. Again, our artist he's heavily anime inspired, but again, we probably, if Jupiter hadn't done the cat, we could have ended up with the cat, right? I have 2 cats. I had frogs when I was little, I like tadpoles and things. It just worked out, man. Like, it just felt good, familiar, friendly. One of those that the inspirations were there, and, you know, it just works.
Another thing I noticed is that it does not have a screen. It doesn't have
No.
an interface. It has a single button and a USB-C port on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that choice.
So again, when we went to go about doing the hardware, right? One of the things that plagues the crypto industry, at least I think in terms of hardware products, is teams over promise and under deliver, right? So we've seen usually hardware comes out with really nice renders. It looks amazing on the actual like videos, and then when there's either delays because it's been over engineered, so there's too much complexity behind
When
it.
stacks.
But it's also just hardware, right? It's not, you can't just bang out a fully finished product in the one go. Like even anything you do in life, right? Coding, cooking, it's never overnight you become a Michelin star chef. You build up your skills gradually. So for us, the two important things we wanted was, one, we wanted to be able to actually deliver this and have it look like what we were selling. And secondly, I wanted to take on a challenge that we could achieve, right? Like taking on a screen back in the day and adding so much complexity in terms of like the whole stack, it would lead to either delays, going over budget, or having to shut down as a company. It just wasn't conducive. And again, on the website, the other thing as well is, right, before we take on this massive undertaking of going after key signings, secure elements, a screen, all the things that bring us to parity, I wanted to see, would people be willing to buy a hardware wallet, right? Like, again, there's a theory like in marketing where it says, oh, you should just put the website up with a product, charge people, and if you get conversions, well, you have a business. If not, well, just shut it down and you've learned. But we had to know, like, is there an interest from the community behind doing this? And that's why we refuse to do a token. We refuse to oversell the wallet or put any kind of incentives on. Again, like when I was talking to Adam before Colosseum, when we launched, it was very much get this to people as quickly as possible. And that was before we had the Colosseum funding. It was very much like, let's try and get it done. So the choice is intentional. And then secondly, the single button and no screen was a simplicity thing, right? The initial goal behind it was, what we're trying to protect against here with this specific device, like the first one that we've done, is online attacks, right? We say it's like it's the first hardware we're ever done. On the tutorial website, you'll see that I warn people it's an alpha build. Please, it's the first hardware we've made. You shouldn't trust us blindly. For me, I don't care if you put $1,000 on, $100 or $10. We just want people to try and use it. And the dev app, I've specifically, like the dev app we've released today, is just to highlight how easy it is to use. And the single signing as well, again, you have squads. So squads is one of the USPs that we're working on. I haven't included it in this current version as we build out. I just want to know that people can download our app, plug in our hardware, and it will work. And we've done the testing for it. I've tested on other machines, but there's nothing that compares to shipping orders out for the first time and having it like live on stream. So it was a conscious decision of, right, let's get something out that people, they know what they bought, they get it in time, we've not oversold it, and we can see if there's a genuine demand. Again, it's why we tried to come in with a price point at a reasonable $69 with discount codes for individual people. And you know, from the orders, we had two models when we launched. We had a plastic one and an aluminum one, and people overwhelmingly liked the aluminum. We had 90% of our orders go on the metal. And we just looked at it and went, right, the plastic, it's 3D printed, it's just not going to be a good experience. So we just upgraded everyone to aluminum that bought it, because for us, it was just an easier logistically thing, and I didn't want people to not have a good experience on this first one.
Yeah, and you can only spend your money once, right? If you are buying the cheaper option and it makes you unhappy, you're spending your money twice, right? And it really feels awesome in when handling it. So you also sent me the bigger box.
Yes.
Let's open that on camera and see.
So this is under development at the moment.
All right, I see.
I have to put the 3D case on it so you can take it apart and see the circuit board inside. And this is the new one that we're working on.
This is
the screen on there. And this one will be metal as well. We won't be 3D printing it. I've just got Steve. I've got you one just with the casing 3D print, so you could see how we're looking at the form factor. So that's a custom PCB. We've got this one that has one secure element on, as we were prototyping, and now we finished the design for the second one. So we're just working on getting that put together, but we had to take a bit of a break just to get these done.
Awesome.
So yeah, as you can see, like, you know, we went to Breakpoint, man. What I will say, the community is very aware of the signing problems, right?
Yeah.
So when we went to Breakpoint,
for those who don't understand the signing problems, what are the signing problems we're talking about?
Yes. So when we went to Breakpoint, like, we showed people the device, people were like, oh, this looks so cool. And then the immediate next question was, do you have a screen? Do you have a certification? And can you do clear signing? Because a device can look great, but if it doesn't perform to do everything that you want it to do, it's not fully complete. So that was really encouraging. Like, for me, that meant, right, we're on the right track with the design of it, the materials, how we're approaching it. We know people want this. We just need to engineer a better device. And this is what I mean with these incremental upgrades. So hopefully, fingers crossed, at Breakpoint this year, we'll have the devices with us. People will be able to come and try them out, the new ones, see them in action. I'm working on a little interactive experience. We're in London, UK based. So, you know, logistically, it's going to make life so much easier for me. Instead of having to send 1,000 all over the world, it's just going to take them down to London, see people in person. And that's the other thing, man, as well, with the hardware. For us, it's a very much in-person product. It just doesn't translate the same over a call, or trying to get, like, especially when you talk to people and trying to get on a call and show them and then screen share. If it really clicks for people when they get it in their hand or they see me demo it. And that's what we found. So in terms of problems with clear signing, sorry, before I go on a tangent, the big problem we have, right, is all the hardware wallets, or at least Ledger, which is the big culprit, same with Trezor, they don't have clear signing. So when you go to sign something, you don't really see what you're doing. And that opens you up to what, you know, your own computer, what can be sent can be poisonous. And we've seen this in really, like, high scale or high level attacks, right? And that's where the danger is, right? On these high level things, the attackers they're incentivized to put in the extra work and go to this length. Again, with squads as well, it's not just we don't have clear signing on normal transactions. We also don't have it on multi-sig, which are extremely high leverage. And the whole point of all these hardware wallets, you know, the ones that you were showing before that have a screen, is to have a screen on so you can trust the device and not your computer. And with Solana, they don't do that. And this is, again, what I said to you, it's Solana is so different. And again, it's so different in a good way because it's how we go so fast. It's how we get the cheap TXEs. But it means the architecture is so different. So they have to do a completely new implementation while still supporting everything else and keeping it up to standard. So, like, again, being in the business myself and looking at Ledger, again, Ledger, please ship clear signing, but also they have 1,000 chains to support, and they have us Solana people going, guys, just ship this one thing. We don't care if it breaks everything else, but other people care.
Yeah,
so
I heard from reliable sources that Ledger is so slow to ship. they are so... It's a massive company as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a trivial lift to just be like, oh, we'll just send clear signing. Yeah, so, they will get to it, but they have to do it properly as well. Yeah. You can't be pinging it to APIs or sending it through the computer. So yes, sorry.
So at Trident One, we host a couple of blockchains, but the two most important ones are Solana and Sui. Yep. Honestly, I can't remember when I, for the last time, signed a clear transaction because everything happens on Solana. So for those that don't have a hardware wallet or are new to the ecosystem, if you use a hardware wallet, you integrate it with a wallet like Soulflare, Phantom, Backpack. And then when you sign a transaction, you also have to confirm that transaction on your physical device. And if you have a physical device, it will show the it will show the hash, but it doesn't inspect the hash and say, "Oh, you're signing your
life away," or you just send in
your staking authority to the North Korean rocket program, or you're sending 10 Sol to pirate.sol, or you're sending, you can't really see what you're doing. And this is where most of the Solana people get got, right? That's where people lose their money. And that's why it's important to have clear signing. Yeah. So why is it so difficult?
Wow. So again, I was talking to some people from Solana Foundation yesterday in the offices and just in general developers, right? And it's so difficult because the opinions are all over the place, right? So for anyone who's a developer, right, we have IDLs, right? It's what you use to understand what a smart contract is doing or to interact with it. It just to let you work with it. Now, okay, great, but the IDLs can change because people can upgrade a program, but your hardware is offline. So if I ship you hardware that has the IDL from squads now, maybe in 3 months from now, the IDL updates, and now we have a breaking change. Now that means that we then have to update your firmware, but updating firmware is, anyone who's done it knows it's a nightmare. And secondly, it's a security risk. It adds another layer of complexity, and now you're having to download a new binary signed by me, and I could get hacked, right? Like in these devices, I know that, look, I've done it with an air gap laptop. I've wrote the code for it myself. I've sent it out. I can't update the device. I can't access it. I can't track it. With that remote update thing, with like the firmware, that's a problem. So it's like if you give up one thing, you have an issue elsewhere. There's always a compromise. Again, the other thing is Solana has so many different transactions. So we had token, right? The token program. We now upgraded that to P token, and it's a drop-in replacement. But is there anything different on the key signing? If you've implemented that, might change it. And then the other one is, okay, you can read the transaction, but I'm a developer. I can understand most of the transactions just due to experience from the programs. But as a retail consumer, maybe the token program, which is just a hash, isn't what maybe you want to see okay, this is the token program and not just the wallet address, right? So it's making it in a way that people can understand. And there are different opinions. Again, Solana also, guys, think how many new protocols come out, right? And you can't support all of them. You have to make a decision on what you're going to support and what's mission critical. And then with the other devices, so other manufacturers, don't forget, they also have to do 1,000 chains, and device space is limited. So a lot of these companies have been around 6-7 years. They've been around a long while. So the designs haven't been updated to reflect like modern advancements in like the RAM or the size of the storage. That plus doing 1,000 chains and having to support that means that you might not have space for these really big Solana information dense JSON files or IDLs, or however you end up trying to implement clue signing, whether it's like static or you keep upgrading, or whether the computer can. There's always a compromise, because like you could upgrade IDLs on a user basis through the app, right? No firmware upgrade, but you could be like, right, I unlock the app, I unlock the device, and then I'll update the IDL myself if you're that minded. But that creates friction because the consumer customer won't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
You see all the different compromises. So like, it's like either you do remote firmware or you lock it away, or you do this middle ground. So it's a space constraints as well. And then also you need to know what you're doing with Solana, right? It's not just another EVM chain where you can just copy and paste something and no one's actually solved key signing properly, right? We have Blowfish, which got acquired by Phantom, which they work as an API. So the way the scanning works and is in the wallet, you go to submit the TX, it takes the TX, it sends it to Blowfish. Blowfish comes back with a response, and you get kind of a view of kind of key signing, or at least transaction simulation. But on a hardware wallet, that's air gap by definition, because it shouldn't be pinging APIs. You don't have the option of getting a Blowfish in. So it creates a problem where, again, my approach to it is tightly constraining it, trying to bring the problem space down to what it should be, trying to keep things where a hardware wallet, you're not compromising it. So I don't want yield on a hardware wallet. Again, just a little tangent. When I was working on the app, we were doing a lot of integrations and we had yield sources in, and then drift happened. And I had to sit down and have a think. And I went, look, we really shouldn't have hardware wallets being able to move funds to a on-chain or a smart contract yield source, because then the security is based on the smart contract, not the hardware wallet. But your average person doesn't know that. They think it's hardware, it's safe on there. So what we ended up doing is just splitting up. So in the app, we have, if you're on the soft wallet, you get your yield. But if you're on the hardware wallet, we just hide it from you, so you can't accidentally do it. So you can see, if I keep on going, we'll just keep on finding more and more problems.
Yeah. But does that mean that I'm also kind of, in the kind of limited? I'm not allowed to make a mistake if I use your...
No, so because I did think of this, like we want it to be open. And again, I will not come on this podcast and tell you that we have solved clear signing 100%. My approach to it is I think I have a formula that works. you've seen the screen device. Our plan is to open this up to the developer ecosystem. Solana developers, you're an independent developer and you have opinions on it and you're confident, you want a dev device, we'll send you one. Open up, you can flash the firmware yourself, you can play with it, you can do whatever you want with the device, and you can hopefully give me feedback on clear signing. Because developers are very, like, every good developer I've talked to has said to me, Bill, keep the device as simple and stupid as possible. Keep it bare bones and just let people do with it what they want. They can build on top of it, and etc. And with the new device that we're working on, it's genuinely, it's 2 secure elements. It's got the screen on. It's really easy to code. It's all in Rust. I've done the heavy lifting of reverse engineering the firmware binaries for the secure elements. So what I want is the way I want it. So if you're a dev, I don't want to give you something, go, right, work it out. I'm just going to give you the fully work and then go, all I want you to do is come in and give me feedback on this one bit. What do you think? And hopefully across 30 or 50 good developers, we get a consensus of this is roughly what we think is the best path forward. It won't be perfect, but it's a very good start.
So I think this is a call to action. If you're watching this, how will, and you are a developer and you're in the wallet developing space, for instance, open source wallets, there are several emerging ones. How do people reach out to you, and how do they apply for a free developer?
Twitter is always a good one. I see the Twitter's, Telegram as well if you have it. And also we have support at unruggable.io and feedback at unruggable.io. So you can email there. We refuse to use AI agents for customer support, just for anyone wondering.
Same.
You get me. I personally go through the emails and reply. We don't do that. And then the other one is like, I want to push these dev units once we finish shipping these devices out to people. We still have another 350, I think, to send for myself. So my plan is to have everything shipped out by the 14th of June. And then we can lock in and work on this new device and get that to where it needs to be for people to start using it properly. Yeah.
All right. So how do I start using it?
So this is the moment of truth, right? If I've done my job right. So if you've received one like from in the US where we did the nice tamper-proof packaging, we've got a little QR code in that just resolves to unruggable.io/tutorial. The link's you can't access it from the website direct, so you have to go either through the QR code or just type in the tutorial bit yourself. And that should hopefully come up with a blank Loom video. That doesn't have me demoing it yet. I will be recording the demo once we finish this podcast, or who knows, we could even clip this podcast and use that as a demo. And you can see me sweat bullets seeing Steve try and use it and hope everything goes through. So if you're on the tutorial page, it should be, there we go. So I'm hoping you're on a Mac. If you're on a Windows, it should still work, but Mac is what I've tested.
I do have taste.
Lovely. Sorry, just on the side note, when you start talking to customers and people, Windows, we did a survey. We had like over 500 people reply. Windows is the #1 operating system. Outside, like it's out of our little crypto bubble. Yeah. When we did the feedback, it was like 80% of people were on Windows. So, getting the Windows app to run was a big lift. It's one Rust cross-platform app, and it compiles for everything. So fingers crossed, we do compile for everything. So yeah, it should come down. It's a notarized app, so it's signed by me through Apple. It should throw no warnings. I should have done my job right. You should just be able to drag it into the applications just like any other app. I will say, to Apple's credit, the Mac app distribution system is quite good.
All right.
The iPhone, or working on iOS, is I don't know where we went wrong with the App Store development.
All right, let's see if this is work. Downloaded from the internet. Sure, let's trust it. Let's see if I can. There we go.
Hope no secrets there.
No, probably not.
Oh yes, success. It runs.
Let's go.
Yes.
All right. Secure and private. Never leave your device. Secured with the pin. All right. Let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So it automatically already has generated a public and private key for me, I think.
Yes. So this is a soft wallet, right? You've never plugged the hardware in. My approach to this is that you can see, so this is our version of Ledger Live that you've just opened.
Yeah.
And my goal with this was, and again, this is what we focus on the dev app. So this is roughly what we submitted to Colosseum. We have iterated on it and we will release the newer app as I finish it. But the goal here was to have that onboarding be simple, right? You logged in, and I hope the moment you saw that come up, you were like, right, I'm on a Solana wallet. Well, that's what I want. Yeah. I don't want people, because on Ledger Live, the thing I didn't like was you open it up and then you have to start searching for where you are. With this, I just wanted to get you directly to a app that you feel familiar. So like even when you like open it up, I keep it at phone width because everyone uses a mobile app. It's what you know how to use. So I've tried to keep, like Phantom and Soulflare have done amazing work on the UI UX, right? Over the years, they spent how many man hours developing it. So I've been heavily inspired by them, right? You stand on the shoulders of giants, and I hope one day like Phantom will support us as well natively.
So did you build this from the ground up?
Yes. So this is a full cross-platform app written in Rust. It's using the Dioxys framework. It's one repo, and it distributes for Mac, Windows, Linux, iPhone, Android, and Seeker as well.
And it's not sending the seed phrase to a Lighthouse protocol or something.
I have zero telemetry.
For those who know, the Slope wallet did just that. Yeah.
Zero telemetry. I've gone through it again. It's the first ever software, right? It's what we say to people on the website. Be responsible. Don't go. If you're using private keys, back them up. If not, make sure that you're understanding how much risk you're taking. I'm a person on the internet, right? Hopefully the 2 years have proven something. Hopefully as we build up, it'll get there. So this is just the first one. So yeah, I've kept this one bare bones. I've stripped out all the extra features. We've kept it receive, send, stake, and swap.
Nice.
So we can have a look at the hardware if you want. And this is another moment of truth for me if everything will work.
Tell me what to do.
So as you said, it's got one button, the USB-C port. So hardware out, USB-C, and you just plug it in and it should light up on the top left. Fingers crossed.
All right, let's go. On the top left of the device, or
just on the app? So once it plugs in, yep,
it does plug in.
That's it. Lovely, and it picks it up. So if you just click on there where it's just lit up with the orange, that shows it's there, and we can see the hardware wallet on the first edition there. So it comes up with connect,
and unlock. Handshaking with device. All right. First,
so it's just asking for your hardware pin at the moment.
All right, let's repeat this. I can change this later, right?
Yes.
All right, cool. I don't want to get mugged and then they already know my pin.
Well, I'll also be sending out the Tumble device because we have your proper order as well. So I'll be sending you another one out which will be properly finished.
Wow, I'm getting spoiled rotten.
So if you scroll down, you should be able to just click and hold the button for a second or two. If you just keep on the device, yes. So just
all right.
And you just hold that down and it should just do the trick.
I'm one of those people that stopped reading at one point in life. All right. So it does say press and hold the hardware button for about 2 seconds to finish setup. All right, so I'm pressing down. 1, 2, there it is.
We go. And this is your hardware wallet. So that's it. We update the thing to show that it's hardware, so you can clearly see you're on your hardware.
Yes.
The top left thing is your connector, so you can connect and disconnect to it really easily. I never liked the fact that you can't disconnect to Ledger and flip out of it, so I wanted a physical disconnect button, and that's it. And if you fund the wallet, hopefully with a bit of Sol going in, you can start playing around with the 3 features.
Let's go.
I've kept it minimal. The goal here, and this is what I wanted, is the setup is so quick, right? Like compared to Ledger, out of the box and getting it set up.
You don't have to write down the.
Yes.
So what happens if what happens if I lose the device?
So, and hopefully, now that you've set the device up, you will be responsible and write down your key pair. So you can go on the settings on the top right with there, and you can export. There should be an export wallet. If not, I need to add it. I've locked off for the hardware, so I will be adding that. So on the hardware, on this hardware wallet, you can export your wallet.
Export, yeah.
Yes. So it will, you know, you have to unlock the pin, and I'll be adding like patching the app for the hardware to release the key. This is just, you know, if you're using it, you should write it down. So that's the first recovery thing. Again, most people, and yourself as well, Hugh, you might not want to write the key down, right? That's part of the model as well. My approach to this is having the user or forcing you to write the key down every time that you're going to use the wallet or when you set up. And the thing is, when you open the wallet, you might not be at your house or somewhere secure where you want to do the setup. So my thing is, this should be a one-time operation that you decide when you want. You know, you haven't backed it up, right? This is my thing. As a hardware wallet for Solana, we're not selling to a crypto newbie or the ledger customer that's never used a wallet. I'm selling to you, Steve. Like, you've worked in ecosystem, you know that I should probably write that seed phrase down. So the goal here is to have it on demand. Same thing with the new model with the secure elements. Set it up instantly, and then if you want, it's a one-time operation. Sit down, write it out, and then it's stored permanently. The other option is squads, right? The multi-sig. So I haven't pushed squads on this in this app on purpose, just because unless you're already a squads user, it's going to be a bad experience for you. And this one, I just want people to see it works and it's lightning fast. Like when you fund the wallet with Sol, I've made it to work for power users. It's how I want it. Where was I? Yes. So that's how I look at the recovery part. With squads, as we iterate on the app, squads will be part of the app. So onboarding, or at least having recovery, is the general model I follow is everyone in crypto has a laptop, a phone, and hopefully an unruggable hardware wallet. Or if you're a bit more paranoid and you're doing, let's say you guys are running operations for Triton Treasury, right? So maybe on that one, it's a Ledger and a Trezor, and you want to add another hardware wallet just to have diversity.
And the Keystone and the Tangem and it is
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But man, the thing is, as you start going up, so like Drift should, or any protocols app, again with North Korea, we know that if you're not above 100 mil, North Korea don't care at this point, right? They've gone into like a optimizing the hacks, and they if you look at over the last 6 years, there's research from like Tavano, and you can read it. Back in the day, they would go after anything, so they would go do a shotgun approach. Now it's targeted, so they only go after things with over 500 million in assets, because that's where the value is.
People are still losing their money though through other scams, like, oh, you get an airdrop, sign this transaction, all right, now your entire stake is ours.
And this is what this wallet is built for, right? For the North Korea, that level of like that's the next model with the secure elements on the screen. And for this one, like Steve, the moment you unplug this, or even if it's plugged in, right, and you download that dodgy Skype link, this hardware, unless you click the button, it's not signing anything. And that's what this first model is there to illustrate to people, that you can have hardware that's really easy to use and it's plug and play, and you put a pin in and it feels intuitive, but it's also going to protect you from 99% of the attacks you'll have as an average crypto user.
Yes, this was the fastest hardware I ever set up. Like, I'm not writing anything down. It already works out of the box. So when I plug the device in, does it already have like a private key preloaded on it, or does this happen with the setting up of the wallet? It gets generated in the background.
Yes. So when you set up the wallet, it needs the pin set. So until you set a pin, it's at a blank state or an awaiting state. When the pin is set, it then stores the key in the NVS storage or the memory storage and encrypts it at rest. The pin then decrypts, and it's the classic encrypt decrypt key. Now, the important part here, and it's why we say please use caution. This device is not protected against physical attacks, right? So if someone who is skilled enough can steal this device, plug it in, they know what they're doing, they can extract the firmware, and once you can pull it out, you can then just brute force the thing with the pin. But someone has to physically steal your device to do that. And this is why I say it protects against online attacks. And this is where the secure elements come in. That's for the physical protection. What we wanted is to just illustrate like the user flow is what I want, because the new device, man, the one you can't plug in, you will have a new one in the next month or so, the dev ones. It's the exact same flow. The exact same, plug it in, boom, thing comes up, you set your pin, maybe you set it on the device for the first time just for security, and you're in. I just want people to be able to go in, boom, 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 done. And as you can see, you've got the wallet address at the top. You can see the full wallet on purpose on the hardware at the top. and you have receive, which has, if you click on the receive button, you should just be able to click copy, and
All right, nice.
it'll just be ready to go.
Let me put a little soul in there and see if we can F around.
Yes. And again, for anyone listening, if you have feature requests, if you have things that you'd like to see on the hardware, if you'd like some integrations or any features, we're always open to feedback. You've got the feedback email. Please let me know. And if you're a developer and you want to tinker around with it, okay, more than happy to send out one. I'm working on a little dev unit kit while Steve funds it. So we've got a little goodie box coming out with our device and then some other dev boards for people to try.
There it is. Hey. All right. This is awesome.
And I should just mention as well, so just for anyone listening, Triton made the Yellowstone TPU sender, if I recall, and we do integrate that. So we have the option to, your TXs on here, that we basically just ping them through the TPU sender with Yellowstone that you guys released. We also ping them through Jito. And because of how Solana's made, you can literally just basically kind of spam the network a little bit. You just send the TX, bing, bing, bing. And yeah, it's one of the open source things, because for me, putting in TPU and Yellowstone from you guys, Steve, I upgraded to Solana v3. I pulled in the crate, done.
Yeah, it's our developer team is on point. So what is the swap? What does it use?
So open it up and you'll see.
Oh, all right.
So you should have USDC there, and then if we put in a little just point pennies on the.
I broke it. Bad request.
How much is it over the limit for? Oh, can you just put the USDC on the bottom and just click the bottom one? Yes, there. So just type in USDC on the top.
Found a little bug.
That comes up. Yep. So that's now populated with quotes. So if you see there, we have Jupiter, DFlow, and Titan. Again, Discovery might not be the best. I'm working the token list. Guys, having built a wallet, you've got to give mad respect to Jupiter dealing with the token lists. Like, big shout out to Jupiter on the token list. They give them out for free. Jupiter's API is goated. They are the best entry point for development. And then if you see, we've got in Titan and DFlow as well. So my whole thesis here is that, look, you're a Solana user, right? You know where you want to swap.
Yeah.
You don't want me to force you into some hidden away swap that I'm going to charge you on. You want to use what you know. And this is one thing that we looked at Ledger, and I was like, we need to do better than them. The Ledger Live, the swapping, the fees are exorbitant. You don't know where it's getting routed through.
How much are the fees on Ledger?
I think it's at 0.1%.
Oof.
Yeah. So on this, I don't charge any fees on the swap. We don't plan to anytime soon. Again, that might change, but at this point, we're not at the point where I should be charging you fees. Right. All we take is a tiny Jito tip, which again, Jito takes a tip as well. It's off the order of under like a fraction of a cent. So again, one of the cool things, right, is that you're on a hardware wallet, you're not doing contested state. So you're not trying to land a meme coin trade that all you're doing is a cent. So the Jito tip just has to be enough to just get you bumped into it. Yep. So we can get away with the Jito and the T. And so, yeah, so the three different things. And if you go for the swap, go for it, it'll work on the hardware wallet. So you just have to click the button now, like it says there.
All right.
On the hardware. And that should be it done.
Oh,
we've got Orb and Sol Scan.
That's so fast.
As fast as Solana.
All right. So it went through Titan Exchange?
Yes.
And it went through, several hubs. Radium, it went from WSOL into USD1, World Liberty Financial, and then to USDC via Alpha Q. Never heard of that, to be honest.
Titan's routing. So we surface to you what you would get in any normal swap. Again, Steve, one of the things that's worth discussing, right, is should we even have swaps in on the hardware wallet, right? Because you could just go from hardware to software and swap on the software wallet.
So
just
that,
as a more security paranoid person, right? I
yes,
kept it in just to show, like, the goal of this, it isn't to go super paranoid, it's to show you how quickly and easily the wallet works, right? Steve, that swapped quicker than you'd swap on a soft wallet,
yes. Well,
like
I don't use
with less
software.
speed.
I don't use software wallets, to be honest. But
But you know what I mean? It's built to like what, because my thing is, like we say this with Adam all the time, when you have this thing where it's like, fuck, I need to go get my hardware wallet out. And it's like it becomes a chore. You feel like it's a burden. With this, you saw how quick it is. I want people to just feel like, because that's the other barrier, right? It's not, security isn't just like getting the best hardware or the most secure app. It's also, I believe it's having people know what they're using. So like, I'm sure
yes,
everyone in crypto has gone through this. You got into crypto, maybe you hit, like when you start, you always get a bit lucky. Somehow the universe does it. And then you probably onboarded a family member or a friend. And for the first 2 weeks, I'm sure you had this little bit of anxiety going, will they text me and go, oh, my money's gone from the wallet. What happened? Because people don't know, right? When they're fresh,
yeah,
they like, when I onboarded my dad, I was 2 months. I would always, whenever he texted me, I'd always be scared. I was like, did he do a wrong swap? Did he just click on like dupe.ac instead of AG? Those little things.
yeah.
So it's not just the security, it's also having people feel comfortable with what they use and not have it be opaque. And
Well,
that's why the design is that way.
what I like about this, without, mentioning preference, or what I like about this concept is with other wallets, I need to start them up. So I have to turn them on. This is on or off or whatever by default. So you plug it in, then it's on. And then you don't have to select what program you want to start. So with other hardware wallets that do multiple chains, you have to select the chain that you're interacting with. Then you have to open that. Then it doesn't work outside of the box because you need to go into the settings and enable blind signing. Otherwise, the program would not work, which is weird because why not have that be the default in that case? With this, it's just Solana and it works. You put in a pin and you're online. So yeah, that's definitely a design choice that really radiates from this device. Also, the fact that it has one button, it's super duper easy. So yeah, really big props on that.
It's
It's
you know when you have a grandparent and you know the TV remote when you tape it so they can only click the two buttons that they have to. It's the same approach, man, because I want these things like when it says click the button, if it's only got one button, you can't be confused. If it's got two or three, you could click the wrong one.
yeah,
So like with this one, we tried really to just get it as simple as possible to have an offline signer. And again, part of the argument is that I was talking to Jacob yesterday from Foundation, some other devs, even on the new device, a lot of the devs are saying, just guys, just keep it stupid simple, just make it a signer offline and then let people do what they want with it. So same on this one, like, again, this is just for cyber. If anyone's interested, I spent a lot of time researching the microcontroller designs, right? So we were like, how do we make this? Because with the new one, we use an ESP32 and people will have opinions of that. But I did the research. It doesn't matter if it's an ESP or an STM32, which is what Ledger use. They are all a $19 exploit from AliExpress. So if you go on the Russian dark web forums and you go into like some exploit places, you can find that the flaw is on the silicon, right? It's not even the firmware, it's on the actual chip design with like laser injection and how they can be broken. And that's when I realized, I was like, Ledger have a really good paper, Donjon, where they effectively hacked a wallet that's similar to this, or at least this version. And they got the physical access and they tested across different suppliers and they found the same exploit. And that's what then led to the secure element. But the goal here is that, okay, we can put the secure element in for the security. This is the flow that we want. It works, it's quick, it's seamless. We work with Ledger. So the app that you have downloaded now, I will be updating it. I just wanted to make sure it worked. That was the first thing. And now we can build on it. But Andrew's done amazing work supporting the Ledger in the CLI, right? So they did the Ledger signing thing. So you can plug in as a dev, you use it. Because we're written in Rust, I can just pull in the Ledger crate and then you can use your Ledger with our app. So you get the same swap, stake, all that experience, but with your Ledger hardware, which you might trust a bit more. So that's the way that we're looking at it. The the software, it's not just the hardware, but the software is like a portal to use hardware wallets easier. And yeah, hopefully we can go back. Hopefully Phantom will support us as well at some point.
And Solflare.
Yes.
Yeah.
The new model, I think, is definitely worth pursuing with everyone. Like, I really want, my plan is to get the devs to come on board and tell me about clear signing. And once we get that wrapped up, then I want to go talk to the wallet providers and go, right, because like with Ledger, we know that they break the signing specs and the APIs for how you sign, and that breaks the wallet compatibility. So my approach is, okay, guys, we have this thing built. The only thing left is the wallet interaction. And I can change my software to what works best for you guys, because you guys have the users. And what I want is a seamless, I just want it to be able to plug in and it just pops up on your Phantom, Jupiter wallet, Solflare, just seamless. That's the plan.
So you're not competing with them when it comes to, you know, the application. You're just looking for as much integration as possible.
We don't have a browser. We don't have a browser, and I believe that hardware wallet apps shouldn't have a browser in. And that's why it's what I was saying to you with the clean signing. I want to scope it out specifically. So if you want to use, like, it's what I say, if you guys want to go trade on Pumped Up Fun, or maybe you've got something that's a little bit more degen, you know, where maybe you yield farming, but you want to do on a hardware wallet, which is a very valid thing. Because again, it is, you heard me before go, oh, well, you are giving up to the smart, but also the likelihood of the smart contract being done is like not that high. The chances of you being rugged on a high net worth wallet that can be traced on chain on a soft wallet are way higher. So what I want is for people like that, I want the wallets to support it, because I don't want to do it in a browser. I don't want to build that. The wallets have done it. I'm not going to beat them at that, right? What I can do is make really good hardware that they can integrate and open up for people to use the yields, Jupiter Lend, order books, prediction markets. Again, the device, right? The device, the new one that you have, the way I've designed it, it's so versatile. So one of the things I want to look at is it can be an ore miner, right? So you can have it, you can set it up, and like, again, you'd have to change your firmware, but I will, like, if someone wants to do this, we'll put a bounty on it and have someone write the firmware for it. It's all Rust. It works. Like, I've validated it. Same thing with like Meteora, right? I like LP farming. I'm a big fan of Meteora. I like the product. I use it. I would like to either be able to use it on a hardware wallet with a extension integration like Phantom Solflare, so it's seamless, or alternative on the new one, maybe it's a little Meteora LP miner and you can run self-hosted strategies. The new wallet space is huge, right? You can have it, like I was talking to some guys here that do YubiKeys, right? You know the YubiKeys, like the FIDO spec. We can run FIDO on the device. Yeah. YubiKeys are like industry standard. So the new device with the secure elements, it supports FIDO. It can do anything you want. You want to use it as a Bitcoin wallet, it can do Bitcoin. It can sign anything you want. We just chose to just do Solana. So, you know, if anyone's interested in looking at different things, please come have a look. Awesome. We will have it ready this month. And I think that it's open source approach, man. Like, the code is open source, the app will be open source. We'll open source the PCB schematics. If someone wants to make the PCB themselves, they can go for it. I just think there's no, like, the last thing I'll say, my parents always go, Bill, if you put this code out, can someone not just steal it and take your business? And my response is, you know what, man, if someone can do what I do better than me, go for it, right? The code is there. It's like Jito, right? Jito is fully open source. And yet, why can no one beat them at that specific game? Because when you have a code base that complex, you can't just fork Jito and then stay on top of it better than they do. You can try and do, that's where open source shines. You know, and hopefully we can use it to like shine. Yeah.
You know B-Man, right?
Yes.
Yes. So B-Man is also building a software wallet called Samui Wallet. And he is a open source maximalist. And he always says, if you're really good at cooking and you've got a really successful restaurant and you put your recipes in a cookbook so other people can also, you know, F around with your dishes, do you think people will stop coming to the restaurant?
Exactly. Bro, B-Man's Solana DApp scaffold has, I don't know how many people have used that, right? And like, just the fact that it was open source, that's how we win. And like, for me personally as a Solana developer, I remember, I don't know what made people as developers choose Solana. Maybe it was money, the speed. For me, it was, I remember sitting down, I was doing, like, from the PhD, I did a lot of scientific computing, so a lot of like terminals and CLIs. Solana was the only blockchain that had a CLI that worked out of the box. Like, back in the day, that was such a huge advantage. And now the fact that we have these, like the apps, the preset, the work the Seeker guys have done on the store with like the presets for Kotlin, Flutter, all the different, they've done amazing work. Like with our app, again, I'm nearly at the point where it's ready to kind of polish and go. We will have the Seeker release and the seed vault integration as a template. So if someone wants to write a Dioxys Rust app for the Seeker and have seed vault, they can just rip our software and they'll have a full wallet, built in with most of the basic things that they want. Again, I stood on the shoulders of giants. It's only right that we give back. You can't just take and not give back. Plus, but if the licensees, right, I have to open source it. There's no choice.
Yeah, I'm at Trident One, we really, really, really believe in open source. We believe in contributing instead of extracting, and I think Unruggable and Trident are really aligned when it comes to that. We're over time, but I wanted to ask you one. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Relief. You saw the relief poo out of me because, yeah, go for it.
So I had, let's see, I've got to say this correctly. I had, who was it? It was a while back. I think it was
Noah for clear signing with a ledger message.
It was someone who told me to ask you, what do you think of Anthropic Glasswing?
Anthropic?
Glasswing, the AI that searches out vulnerabilities in AI.
Oh, interesting. So I'm a Codex Maxi. I used to be a Claude person. I've become a Codex Maxi. I personally, I run the app. So the app, the firmware, the software, everything. I run it through multiple AI detection threats. Again, you see the stuff with Mythos come out and it scares you. So my approach is like, the Turing back in the day said like, okay, everything is electrical bits, but that requires a physical action, right? Everything you see, like the screens, it's all like, but it requires a physical computer somewhere doing something. The one principle that hasn't changed is that it's what you said, Steve. We didn't put a battery on this. I didn't want to have it always on. When this is off, it's off, right? There is no access to it. If you set it up, like, again, you could, part of me was like, I thought you could, on the new ones, you'd be able to set them up with a power bank. You won't even have to plug them into a computer because we'll have the screen so you can do the pin on device. Complete air gapping is the only solution to these new AI threats. There is no other option. And that's like, for me, it's been, the rise of the agentic engineering for software. It's been really helpful for us productivity-wise, and I think most devs, if you're good, you will see massive improvements. But with that rise and how cheap software has become, I think the fact that we have hardware plus the air gapping side of like, that's the only protection is a really good moat for us. And also it's bullish, right? Like it's what I said to you, the device, we've made it a Solana hardware, but it can do anything. And we are gonna inevitably either proof of humanity or whether it's going to be just a security thing, we are going to see physical device become the standard everywhere.
Do you think at some point we're going to use this device perhaps also to give agentic AI permission to do something, to execute?
Yes. So again, we have different ideas on it. Again, it's what I said to you. So when I was running like the MetLP bots, I now have an agent running the bot. So the device, the chip on device has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capability. I expressly do not, I block those on the device, but that doesn't mean that if a different bit of firmware is written that you can't have Wi-Fi connectivity. And the device is, again, I say this, it's a little bit of a topic like persistence, right? With your existing hardware wallets, you don't have persistence, as in you can't access them and make them run like a server or do something on a loop. With us, you can. So again, with the firmware, one of the really interesting things is, do you lock the firmware or do you not lock it, right? Because if you have a secure element in, you could probably get away with unlocked firmware that someone could, because it's not holding anything precious. You could also go in and just have it be an agentic device, right? Click to release funds or click to let the agent do something. we've made the hardware. I think the more I talk about it, the more I think what the devs say to me, build it and let people then iterate on top of it. We've never had it like the Seeker the Saga was an initial attempt. This is like our Saga. For anyone that had a Saga, this is our Saga. You will understand what I mean. The Seeker is what you have, Steve, like with the screen, it's the next model. But even with the Seeker, right, it's an Android. It hasn't solved persistence because every phone operating system throttles you to preserve battery and heat performance. So that means that if you want to run a Meteora bot or you want to mine ore on your Seeker, you either have to use a custodial solution where you're doing a privy key or you're using a web provider to churn it, or you have to literally leave the phone open on the app, plugged in front of you and tap so it can't lock. With us, that is a design space that's now wide open to anyone that wants to go after it. Like I still think a little ore miner, like you remember the Bitcoin miners back in the day that you just plug in and they'd mine Bitcoin.
I have one of those. I have a few of those even.
I want the new device to be an ore miner. Like I just want a little spin-off, maybe like a limited edition that just mines ore. You plug it in, you set your parameters, and off it goes. It'll just churn. Maybe it's a metal P. The primitives are there because no one solved the persistence thing yet. So the secure element, the button on, the connectivity, that's another design space. It's very different than hardware. It's much more experimental. You saw the OpenClaw stuff. This is just a better version of how OpenClaw was run. It's a bit more correct. So I'm really excited to see what people do. Like genuinely, I just want to get it out to people. And if anyone's got a good idea, I'll send them the stuff out. The dev kit will have some surprises in as well. Some more boards that we're cooking. We've got quantum stuff with Falcon coming. So that's another big thing that we're looking at because I think no other hardware wallet can even look at that just due to the design. We can. We're still fresh enough. So yeah, the future's bright. Fingers crossed.
All right.
And at least I can ship an app that works.
I'll be bringing this one to Berlin. So if you're coming to Berlin, then walk up to me, see if you can look at it. I'll probably also bring one of the aluminum ones, so you can hold it, see it, and take Bill up on the offer that if you want a developer device, reach out to him on X, on Telegram if you can find him. If you can't find him, contact me. I'll forward your handle to him. We're gonna wrap it up.
Or an email.
Or an
support at unruggable.io or bill at unruggable.io. Steve, also, I will be sending you one. We have, the one you have 3D printed now?
Yes.
We've got that made in metal. So I fly back today.
Metal.
Tomorrow I'll be shipping you it. Yes, aluminum. And I say it's the only hardware wallet that if someone breaks into your house, you can throw at them and it'll still work.
It's a weapon.
Yep. Protection and everything.
It's a weapon of mass encryption. Next week, I have on Nico from Arcium. What do you think I should ask him? If it's anything.
I would like to hear about cSPL. I would like to hear the story behind cSPL because that's been going for a year or so.
The confidential token for Solana. All right.
Yes.
And what specifically would you like to know?
Just the development cycle iteration, how they leverage the token 22 extension, where they see it going with audits, and just in general what it unlocks. I think cSPL is, for me, it's probably the most interesting use case of Arcium at this point. And then the other one we've seen, Zinc, which is a new, it's all, but they've moved on to Arcium, which I think is a excellent idea. It's good for stress test the network. And that's about it. I need to look into Arcium. I haven't had the time yet, just with getting these things there. Once we get over the hump, I'll be able to look into it. But I think cSPL is very interesting. I like how it's compliant. I would just like to hear a bit behind the scenes of how they ended up with cSPL in the development journey there. That's my highlight from Arcium, because I think there's no other protocol that does it that way. All the other ones are privacy pools with proofs. cSPL is like native layer one. So yeah, that's my dev one.
They are sure correct devs. When I met them first with their elusive program, it's like it's like watching a magician. They know what they're doing. They can explain what they're doing, and then you say, "All right, do it again." And they do it again, and you're like, "Wow, where did the coin go? How did it end up behind my ear?" They explain what it is, how it works, how to do it, and you're still like, "Wow!" Especially if your brain is really smooth like mine. Thanks for being on. Thanks for tuning in. if you're listening through Spotify or watching this on YouTube or X. I'll see you guys next week at Pirates Parley. And thanks so much.